This is the Latino Slant. We have a really interesting show for you. It's mainly going to be about Robert Rodriguez. I got some video, some interesting video interview he just did live, I would say not even 2 days ago, where he talks about Star Wars, Boba Fett. And then we're going to break down the Collider. Full interview is up. I feel there's so much to unload from that. We only really touched it because it just this morning, I would say maybe a few hours ago, um, it was fully released, the entire interview on Collider. So, and even then, there's other parts of it that were kind of spliced up. So it's really interesting what they did on that hype train. So they did a good job there with the interview. So that's going to be the main show. We're going to break down the interview into three segments. Okay, just so you guys know, um, Robert Rodriguez, Book of Boba Fett, working with Jon Favreau. Then his new film, Hypnotic, which is supposed to start filming with Ben Affleck, a sci fi thriller. Then the talk of Alita, the sequel, and how he's trying to earn points with Disney. All right, well, let's get into all things Robert Rodriguez because there is a huge interview that he did. What he's doing right now is that he is doing the PR circuit the last few days for a musical concert that he directed, along with working with his children. His children are now working with him on a lot of them. They're like in their 20s. They're not kids. Um, on the Billie Eilish live concert that he directed. So he's doing all that. But some journalists are getting in those questions about Star Wars, Alita, and a couple other surprises. So I saw this video and I wanted to play it for you guys before we get into the Collider interview. Here we go.
Comic book resource.
Sure.
You've always done projects, you've always shot from the hip and done projects that mean a lot to you. And I was wondering, you were saying that this project was brought on by your daughter. What was it that made you want to work in something like Star Wars with Disney and with the Mandalorian season 2?
John Favreau. I've been friends with him a long time. I wrote him after I saw the third episode, saying I always write him. I would send him emails back in the day for Zathura saying, "Hey, my kids love Zathura. They watch it over and over again." He's like, "Oh wow, I don't hear much about that one." So I'd always be sending him fan mail. So I sent him fan mail about his Mandalorian episode. Man, another one out of the park. Kick-ass job. And he said, "Actually, can I call you? I just lost one of my directors. Would you want to come bring some of that Alita magic?" So I was like, "Sure." So I said I was available, and I wasn't available. I just always raise my hand when somebody says, "Are you free?" I go, "Yep, I'm free," because it's going to give you a new experience, like the Billy Project. You just take things on, and it gives you new experiences, and getting to go play in that playground and bring Boba Fett back. I mean, that was awesome. And so now I'm working on a whole season of Boba Fett. So I think it comes out December. Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah, we're cranking on it. Can't wait for you to see that, man.
I'll be here.
It's gonna blow your mind.
It's gonna blow your mind. I just saw this video maybe not even an hour ago, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is fantastic! This is a great way to get into it." Also, too, he gives a little insight to his relationship with Jon Favreau, how they go back and forth over the past couple of years, and then how he got on the project, and it makes sense that he came into it to save the day because director had fallen out, and he took now I guess 19 pages of nothing and made it into an excellent episode. So that video was from today, and then he's saying that Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, comes out in December, is going to blow your mind, and that's all. That's a good way to get into this, and this being the Collider, the full Collider interview. Okay, let's get rid of that. All right. This came out earlier today, press day, September 1st, Wednesday, in a full interview with Collider. Before I run out of time with you, you know that I love your work on Star Wars, Rodriguez. I appreciate that. You know I love your Boba Fett episode. I'm curious, though, can you sort of talk about, because obviously you're an integral part of Book of Boba Fett, can you sort of talk about how you got involved in that series after working on The Mandalorian? Rodriguez says, can't say anything about it right now, but it's coming out in December. Wait till you see what's coming out. It's going to blow your mind. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I can talk it up all I want because I know it delivers. It way over delivers. People are going to be so pumped when they see it. Wow. I mean, and we'll just say this. In hearing a couple of his interviews, I got the chance to see a couple of his recent video interviews. He does kind of hit the same notes, saying we're going to blow your mind, we're going to blow your mind. So 3 different news sources, he's kind of saying we're going to blow your mind. So to me, for someone to say that 3 different sources, it's not just like a kind of like in the heat of the moment, in the excitement of the moment, kind of like over the top embellishment. He's going on record with at least 3 different news sources here saying Book of Boba Fett is gonna deliver. Book of Boba Fett is gonna blow away your mind. It's Book of Boba Fett is gonna over deliver. In fact, it's gonna over deliver. So he said that on Collider. He said that in 2 different video interviews that are. I'll put the links in the description, but these videos they don't have a lot of views, which kind of blows me away. One video that I saw where he gives some good insight. One video that I saw, I don't even think it has 100 views right now, and it's been up for 2 days. So it's very interesting how this has not been talked about. Okay, let's go on. Do you see yourself directing Mandalorian Season 3? Any episodes? Rodriguez, I can't say that either. As a fan, it's like I'm asking this as the Collider audience and as a fan. Rodriguez, I know. I wish I could tell them, but I can't say anything. Okay. So, before we move on to his other project, let's continue now and go over his new project, which is actually kind of a new old project. And it is with Ben Affleck, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. And there you go. And why don't we read on? Cool. What's going on with Hypnotic and any other movies you might be working on? Rodriguez, Hypnotic, we haven't even. It was supposed to shoot last April, and COVID pushed it like 6 months, then pushed it again because COVID came back strong. Now we're fingers are crossed, shooting in 6 weeks. Oh, for real? Rodriguez, fingers crossed. The crew's now on, so we're prepping, hard prepping. I could be shooting in the next 6 weeks. All right, so what we do know is that this project was announced in late 2019 with Affleck attached. So this is separate than the other Affleck rumor. They've been wanting to do this one for a while. Hypnotic, he's been trying to get done for a while. And also with the COVID and the insurance, he's going to explain, they actually had to sue an insurance company. So that was a big delay as well. So again, I just want to thank everyone that's watching here on Facebook and on Twitter. Muchísimas gracias. It's the Latino Slant live on Wednesday nights. let's continue. For fans, can you sort of talk about what the project is about that maybe they don't know? Rodriguez. It's like a Hitchcock thriller on steroids. That's all I can say. As soon as you see the first trailer, you'll go, I got it. I'm there. It's that kind of movie. It's just very, a lot of twists, a lot of turns, very exciting. Not everything you see is really typed show. It's not. It's got a great cast. It'll be very energetic. It's one of my favorite stories. I started writing it back in 2002. So it's one of the ones that I've had the longest that I've been wanting to do. I'm very excited that we finally might be making it. If I'm not mistaken, they go on to ask, you have Ben Affleck and Alice Braga. Who else do you have? Or who else have you announced? Rodriguez, we're casting now, hard casting. It was hard to start casting until we knew for sure we were going to go because the Delta variant showed up and we thought this thing's going to be pushed again. Because it's an independently financed film. Like a Disney Plus could be like, oh, we need this product. We're filming no matter what. But you have an independent film. You have to get insurance. Insurance companies are very wary right now for this variant. You could shut a movie down because then they're out of money. They'll be out of money. So understandably, it's a risk. So we're going to, so that we're going is really exciting just because it's going to be fun and shooting and it's going to be a fun film. I've been to your studio, he says, in Austin, and you could almost recreate a self-containment environment in depending on how many. Rodriguez is exactly what we're doing. Most of it's going to be on the lot. And the Troublemaker Studios are in Austin, Texas. How does it work if you don't mind me asking? Or are you asking like the crew or the talent that's going to be on the movie to sort of bunker down in the area? Rodriguez, you can't really decide what they do offset, but 100%. Yeah, everyone's going to be tested. If you're sick, then you got to be sent away or replaced or something. We can't have it shut. We can't have it shut the movie down as long as we all don't get sick. I do a lot of jobs myself. It's also just everyone's working right now, so it's hard to get even a crew. So I'm having to do a lot of jobs myself, like back in the old days, which is fun. So it's a blast. Isn't that interesting? That's pretty cool. So that is Hypnotic with Ben Affleck and Alex Braga and Alice Braga. They have been announced for that. And it has been also described as a sci-fi thriller. At the same time. Yes. So let's just do a quick rundown, right? Book of Boba Fett, which is done filming, comes out in December. So they're working on post. He just signed a deal with HBO, first look deal, HBO Max, where he's gone on record, and we have this from about, I'd say 3 weeks ago to a month, that he wants to deal with some well-known Warner Brothers IPs. And with a source of mine, a very good source of mine is telling me that connection could be with Ben Affleck. And we said this before. Ben Affleck, Warner Brothers, IP, Batman, Rodriguez. That's one thing going on there. He also just signed a deal to bring back his El Rey network. So this man is busy. Now there is another film project that apparently he's been working on for decades. And when we get to Alita, I got a little story of Alita as well. So I from what I gather with what Rodriguez is trying to do and trying to be hopeful with, let's go to we'll go to it all comes from that one it all comes from that same interview, right? But we'll go, and then the Nerdy Basement, Cinema Blend. Again, he's doing the rounds. So let's go here to Stephen Otten. I'm all for it. Cool, man. Yeah, me too. But this is a slippery slope right here. Now, Rodriguez is talking to Nerdy Basement, and he's further describing along in the same interview part of his strategy to bring Alita Battle Angel back to the forefront. And he says, I'm hoping in earning some points by doing so much for Disney because they own it now. They bought Fox. And that's why we weren't able to jump right into the sequel because of that whole thing. But now they are starting to release some of the Fox stuff. It's the oldest play in the book, and Rodriguez is using it to his advantage. And he should knock it out for the home team with Book of Boba Fett's. The results could be so overwhelming that he'll earn the chips to finally make Alita, Fallen Angel, a reality. I guess that's what they would be calling it. It's a story that could help end almost 3-year wait for some sort of action on a sequel. That's nothing compared to how long it took Alita Battle Angel to arrive. The original project was developed at the studio. Okay, well let me just pause it right there. Okay, because what concerns me is dancing with this corporate devil. Because he's such a maverick, he being Robert Rodriguez, he follows in the footsteps of James Cameron. His career and his work speak for itself. He doesn't need Disney. They need him. And I think that could also be said of the way that can definitely be said of Jon Favreau. Favreau has definitely had to have been more the politician with all the politics and the drama that he's had to deal with. Even then, I think he's delivered. Now, I don't think Rodriguez is naive at all. But for Rodriguez to say, I'm earning points with Disney, maybe there's something already there. Maybe there's a deal worked out. Perhaps. We know that he's got a first look deal at Warner HBO Max. I would just say proceed with caution, Robert, please, when dealing with Disney. And it's kind of a shame that they do own Alita. Alita has been the first Alita they were trying to make since '99, when Guillermo del Toro presented it to James Cameron and Cameron's producer. And that was slated to have James Cameron as the director of Alita. But then a small little film called Avatar happened. So it was around 2014, 2015, that Robert came into the picture. And he saw it as a great challenge. And if you haven't seen the movie, you're really missing out. It's an incredible film. A lot of the things that we like as far as great storytelling there's a lot of fantastic elements. So let's go on with this detailing Alita. The original project was developed at the studio for a little over 2 decades, and talks of a trilogy continued when Rodriguez took the reins from the project's original shepherd, Avatar's James Cameron. However, the two worked closely as collaborators, and the bond is still present. Though Cameron is more focused on returning to the world of Pandora in Avatar 2 and its intended sequels, Robert admits his mentor and pitch buddy is still in touch. I'm trying to see what happens with Boba Fett. I think it's going to knock people's socks off. So when that happens, I will go to Disney. Ay Dios. And say, okay, I've been here for a while. Let's figure out how we can do Alita, whether it's for streaming or theatrical, because it's such a great property. People love it. I love it. And Jim loves it. We just talked about it recently again about how we can do this. What's the best way to approach it? I think it'll be me going in there with him. So imagine him and Rodriguez and James Cameron going into a room of Disney execs to talk about it because I'm doing a lot of stuff for them, Disney, now. Okay, all right. Um, all right. I'm trying to gather some thoughts here, guys, because this is kind of a big deal. And I kind of just had this realization right now. Here, let me make my mug big. I kind of just had this realization right now. Robert is the showrunner, executive producer, and directing some of the episodes for Book of Boba Fett. He can't even say how many he's directing. We know that Filoni, Favreau, and the Dallas Bryce Howard is directing as well episodes. He's done this before with his own network, with his own television shows, From Dusk Till Dawn TV series. He's done this before. He's proven success. Now, if he's saying, look, Disney, I've done a lot for you. I've been here for a minute. I want a leader. Perhaps this was already done. This deal somewhere, somehow is on paper. God, I hope so. To where Disney said, if you showrun Book of Boba Fett and get us legit again with the fans, you get a leader. It happens all the time, guys. It happens with talent all the time. It's, you know, it's chronicled that Bill Murray wouldn't do Ghostbusters if he couldn't do his darling project called The Razor's Edge. Did anyone see The Razor's Edge? Did anyone see Ghostbusters? Of course. But Razor's Edge was Bill Murray's dramatic, exercise, experiment, project. It was his project, but he would not do Ghostbusters if they would. Because you have to give me money to do Razor's Edge, and I will do this Ghostbusters and be silly, funny Bill Murray again. That happens all the time, guys. It happens all the time. So I don't see this as out of the realm of possibility where Rodriguez is given Alita, the sequel, and hopefully they film 2 movies with Cameron executive producing, in return for him being the showrunner and working on this television series, Book of Boba Fett, and making it a hit. And I see that just from what he said. Just from what he says. Here. This is Robert Rodriguez. I'm trying to see what happens with Boba Fett. I think they're going to knock people's socks off. So when that happens, I will go in and say, okay, I've been here for a while. Let's figure it all out, what we can do with Alita and whether it's for streaming or theatrical, because it's such a great property. People love it. That's true. There's now the Alita army. It's kind of growing and growing, kind of like Restore the Snyderverse. It's going every season, in fact, as more and more people watch this movie. And I would say I'm in it. We just talked about recently about how we could do this. Best way to approach it, we go in, talk about it, because I'm doing a lot of stuff for them right now. If the Book of Boba Fett allows for Alita Fallen Angel, or whatever the sequel may be called, to go into development, theatrical may be the sole option for an initial release, considering Alita Battle Angel was released under the old 20th Century Fox system, which had an agreement that required its films to go to cable before even hitting streaming. That extra stumbling block could be an important factor in deciding the project's fate. A streaming debut might be an easier sell thanks to the more modest results the first film raked in back in 2019. For now, though, Rodriguez is optimistic about a Alita Battle Angel sequel, provided fans flock to the Book of Boba Fett. Disney Plus could have its next massive hit on its hands, as that series is supposed to debut sometime in December. Star Wars. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. I truly believe if anyone is going to save Star Wars and its legacy, it's going to be this man from San Antonio, Texas, director Robert Rodriguez. We'll see you soon, and wherever you are at, keep your slant fuerte.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. The slant? Yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version. All right, Paulie, let's go. All right, listen, y'all. Just go ahead and let the guest play. Come on, jeez. That's better. Where'd I go?